Hey there Ark players, and welcome back to a brand new video. Now yesterday we were talking about the Genesis Ascended exciting updates where we found out from the interview from 4Gamer that there is going to be 3 different ships. We found out more about the Paleo Octopus, the Tide Pup, the way the map's gonna work, and we also got an answer to a question that we have been all wondering for a very long time. Obviously, we're getting brand new water physics and the way the ocean works in Genesis Ascended Part 1, and lots of people have been wondering where is that going to take us for the future of this game in terms of the older maps. Studio Wildcard have also said to us a lot of the older maps are going to be needing to be upgraded into Unreal Engine 5.7 as well, which is absolutely fantastic. But in terms of an actual remaster, it turns out that a lot of the old maps are going to be getting this if everything goes well, and it should be a very exciting update for every single Ark map. And let's hope it doesn't lag everything. But anyway, if you guys do enjoy today's video, feel free to drop a like and subscribe. It really supports me. And let's get in with today's video. So, the most important thing of all is the water physics coming to Genesis Ascended, and they said, how will the water physics affect gameplay? Water will no longer be just a shader, but a physical entity that will interact with characters and vehicles. When a storm hits, high waves will be generated, dynamically affecting... Something I forgot is I said to you guys I would zoom in. Nearly forgot that there. So when a storm hits, high waves will be generated, dynamically affecting all water vehicles, including rafts. If you take a raft into the rough seas, it will be violently tossed around by the waves and swept away. The difficulty of crossing the sea itself and the realism of survival will change dramatically. So, 4Gamer went on to say, navigation on the sea will be completely different. Will this physics-based water be applied to other maps as well? And Jeremy officially confirmed that that's the plan. However, first we want to make sure that the system functions correctly in the remake of Genesis, and there are no unexpected synchronization issues or glitches. So we will thoroughly test it on this map first, and if we can confirm that there are no problems, we can apply it to older maps such as the island in the latter half of this year, and gradually add water movement that supports physics calculations with patches. In the future, we plan to make it a common basic technology for all maps with bodies of water we will create. So you heard that right, guys, coming straight from Jeremy, the co-founder of Studio Wildcard, that older maps such as the island in the latter half of 2026 will be able to get a fully ocean upgrade if there are no technical issues. This is super exciting. I know Thor, if you're watching this video, I know you are going to be over the moon, as I know that's your home map, and you're going to be able to watch those beautiful waves as you watch and sit from your base as the waves crash, and maybe, you know, people will feel a little bit more scared to actually enter the ocean, because if it's literally going to make it so that rafts are going to struggle on there, then that's going to be interesting. Something a lot of you guys, and also a lot of you guys over in the LoadedCrysis cluster, if you want to come and join us for launch day, by the way, link to our Discord is down below to our free servers. If I know a lot of you guys have been asking the question, will the ships be allowed on the other maps? Now, that is a question I don't know. A question I don't know. That is an answer I don't know. But I don't think they will be. And I'm not saying it's just going to be Genesis. Maybe they might be allowed on the center. I'm not sure. I think they're going to be locked to certain maps that have larger bodies of water. I think it could cause maybe performance issues on some of the other maps. I'm not too sure. But because let's say the island, I don't think they're going to have those ships in there. It's not big enough. So we'll see what happens. You know, maybe they may allow certain ones, maybe the sloop. I reckon the sloop is like the smaller one that might be allowed on the other maps. But in terms of the giant galleons and things like that, I can't see that being allowed. I don't see Studio Wildcard doing that. Anyway, great news about the island and other maps being remastered in terms of the ocean coming in, and of course 5.7 as well coming in the future. So now it's time to read the next part of the interview, which we didn't obviously get time to do yesterday because we were mainly focusing on Genesis, and this is where we move into a business model to lead to Ark 2 and to Atlantis in 2027. So, the premium DLCs have consistently been themed around vehicles. Could you tell us about the intention behind this as a business strategy? So Jeremy literally said, to put it bluntly, it's a business model to secure development funds for Ark 2. While maintaining the studio's operations, we can't expect direct revenue until Ark 2 is completed. So we need to continue providing attractive optional content. However, we don't want to monetize by selling off the maps themselves. This applies to Genesis Part 1 as well as the upcoming Genesis Part 2 and custom maps such as Fjorda, Lost Island, Crystal Isles. All of these will be provided free of charge for purchasers of Ark Survival Ascended, and paid premium elements play an important role in ensuring the studio's survival for the next few years. The attempts at premium mods and other things have continued from the previous game and are all aimed at ensuring survival of both creators and the studio. So 4Gamer says, so you won't be selling off the maps, but will monetize through game rules and vehicle expansions. Have you decided on the theme for the next vehicle? And he said, let me give you a spoiler. We already know about this, but then this should be hopefully some juicy information we haven't heard yet about, kind of Star Wars inspired. So after sailing ships, the next stage we have in store is outer space. We plan to implement dogfights between spaceships or capital ships, space battleships, equipped with massive main cannons. What I want you to pay attention to technically is the system that maintains local gravity inside the ship no matter what the angle the spaceship rotates or flips, allowing players to move around freely inside the ship even during the dogfights. Network synchronization and physics calculations are an exciting challenge for programmers, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, we all know, all of the stuff we're about to experience all sounds extremely exciting. And I know, Vika, if you've made it to this point of the video, I saw your comment about you saying, you take a lot of stuff with a pinch of salt that Jeremy says. And I agree that I do that myself these days. I'm sorry, Jeremy. I love you more than anything, and I'm so happy that you have managed to, makes this game, the longevity of this game, and I'm so grateful for my, where I am with my channel. But a lot of things that have been said in the past, unfortunately, just haven't become true, or things have changed, and I think the biggest one of all was when they said Survival Evolved was going to be a free upgrade to Unreal Engine 5, and then it became a whole new game that we had to pay for. And I like Ascended. I love it. I really do enjoy it. I just think sometimes I am so hyped about all of this stuff. This sounds incredible. It's more about it actually being done and being done well. I think that's what a lot of the community think about. So the roadmap for 2027 was released, including Ark Atlantis, which is scheduled to launch in the first quarter of 2027. Ark Dragantopia is scheduled for release in the fourth quarter of 2026. It is a dragon-focused map set on floating islands and will introduce a new system called bonding, which differs from the traditional taming method. So, 4Gamer, that sounds like it's going to be on a grand scale. Will the technical insights gained here and the feedback from players be used in the next game? Absolutely. Every attempt in Ark Survival Ascended is a process of technical refinement and learning, and it will be directly applied to Ark 2. For example, regarding AI behavior, we are moving away from the simple XP system to avoid, I think just the same kind of XP grinding, the same thing that we've been doing for years. While we still have XP to raise base stats, we introduced a system in the previous Lost Colony where skills are unlocked by achieving specific gameplay milestones. In Tides of Fortune, we've also prepared a milestone tree specifically for ships, where ship skills are unlocked by achieving specific goals depending on gameplay. Moreover, once you progress through the tree and the upgrades are automatically applied to all ships that you build first, so that there's no need to repeat the same grinding, and these new attempts will improve the quality of future titles. So, will the procedural island system, which was initially rumoured to be introduced around the time of Tides of Fortune, be included? Now, we heard about this. Unfortunately, it wasn't ready in time for Genesis Part 1 remake. It wasn't able to reach a quality that we were satisfied, and the approximately 30 islands placed on this map are all manually placed. However, this is also a stepping stone to our next plan next year, 2027, where we plan to release a new paid map specializing in underwater and ocean content called Ark Atlantis. We expect to launch the procedural island system, which will be postponed this time in its perfect form, and it will be a very ocean-orientated map. So, it's sad, it's a shame, you know, when you've generally got a DLC that is... It's not all ocean. I still think it's going to be awesome. I'm not going to be so... I was looking forward to the fact I'm going to be sailing a ship and then I don't know what's going to be ahead of me. Like, I think that would have been better than just, you know, knowing exactly every single island that you're going to. But in terms of that, I would rather, you know, like I say all the time, I'd rather them not release it and it be an absolute buggy mess. I'd rather the DLC be playable, exciting. We've got, you know, I don't think it's that much of a big deal yet. It sounds awesome, but we know how broken things can be with Ark, and I don't want to push it to the point where it would be an absolute mess. Do you know what I mean? If they feel like they can do it next year, let's do it. Let's make it exciting for Ark Atlantis, but let's really not break the game. You know, as much as I think it would be awesome. So, Ark Maker, which is scheduled to be released in the latter half of September, is said to be an in-game level editor that runs on consoles. What will its specifications be? So Jeremy goes on to say, some people who saw the video suspected that if it was just a direct display of Unreal Editor screen for PC, but that is a screenshot of the game running on an actual PlayStation console. At the moment, you will need to connect a USB mouse and keyboard. Wireless is also possible to the console to operate it, but you will be able to create a map completely from scratch using only the console. And Jeremy said, what was the... they went on to say, what was the inspiration for this tool? We were greatly inspired by Nintendo's Super Mario Maker. The great thing about it is that anyone can become a content creator as long as they have a game console, even if they're not a game developer or don't have special equipment. Some of the maps are so innovative that they rival those created by Nintendo. What made this possible was the mechanism of integrating the tool into the game. In a survey conducted with other players, about 30% said they want to create their own content. However, only 1% of players were downloading the traditional PC development kits and creating full-fledged mods. In other words, the barrier to development was a bottleneck. If we could provide a tool that can be easily used on console, the amount of content could jump 10, 20 or even 30 times the amount that's being released now, and we're excited about the possibility of unleashing a whole new layer of creativity. So they go on to say what kind of content can be created, and Jeremy says, in the initial stages, it is specialized in map level creation. You can create maps by building terrain from a completely blank slate, or you can load an existing map, build massive castles, rearrange them and save them as your own custom maps. Furthermore, it has the ability to load art assets from a regular mod browser, so you can build worlds using virtually unlimited assets. And for example, if you want to use a specific armor set that doesn't exist in the game, you can download the asset from an online model site, turn it into a mod, upload it, and make it freely in Ark Maker. That sounds so cool. In the future, we predict that the game genre will merge art library mods and that are purely filled with visual materials. I'm so tempted, guys. I'm so tempted for my future of being an art creator. I might have to dive into this. I really think this sounds amazing. I just feel like it would be so cool to just like kind of lose some time in just, you know, like once I'm done like creating content and stuff and doing things server based, being able to like dive in as well into doing some, you know, if there's time, to dive in to do some like just a couple of hours or so, like in the evening, maybe. I don't know, it just sounds really cool. Is it possible to create dynamic mechanisms that change the rules of the game itself rather than just placing static objects and dinosaur spawners? That's exactly what we're focused on most with Ark Maker. I told the development team that a static environment with just objects placed around isn't interesting, and that it's meaningless unless we can add functionality to the gameplay. Interactivity is essential for a game, such as traps being triggered when the player enters a room, a new boss appearing, turrets activating, or celebratory music playing with flashy effects upon successful completion. To achieve this, we introduced the Lua as a text-based scripting language. So you write the script code in an editor on the console, and Jeremy said yes. You can open multiple windows on the console screen and type the code using the keyboard in a similar way to JavaScript or Python. It has a copy and paste functionality, as well as the ability to save created scripts to a library for reuse. To reveal the technical background, this is based on, what is that, Unlua? I don't even know. An API that Tencent has released as an open source on GitHub. It is an excellent frame rate that allows you to expose almost all the functions and properties of Blueprint API, Unreal Engine's visual scripting, to text-based code. We are grateful to the Tencent development team for allowing us to use it commercially. We have further extended it and incorporated our own hierarchical system that allows for object-orientated class inheritance and subclassing. As someone with programming background, I find the environment of building logic using text to be as comfortable as coming home. Wow, this is full of juice. This is like the best interview I think I've ever seen any company ever get. For the average player, text-based programming seems a bit of a high hurdle. Jeremy says, actually, probably 1 in 5 or even 1 in 10 of the creators will write the code, but that's not a problem. Just like with Super Mario Maker, with Ark Maker you can download maps created by others, copy the scripts used in them, and reuse them in your own maps. Even players who can't write code can say, let's just bring over that interesting mechanism. And we aim to create an environment where the entire community share their knowledge and learn from each other like open source. Modern communities tend to be closed off, and there's a tendency to hide one's skills, but we hope our tools will break down those barriers. I like that a lot. Aren't you concerned that players might place too many objects in the scripts, causing the game to become extremely slow or crash? Consoles don't have the same specs as PCs. This is an extremely good point. That's definitely going to happen, as he laughs. Oh no. To begin with, the scripts aren't very fast, so if you try to build a super high performance real-time strategy game, the frame rate will drop to 5 frames or less. Scripts are only for simple event control and not for building complex game systems from scratch. By the way, it is possible to create custom menus and UI. Oh wow, this is going to be awesome. This is going to be so awesome. I feel like this is what I would love to build for in terms of like the cluster moving forward, like our own sort of more custom. I know we have like our LoadedCrysis mod, but I would love to have like our own custom cool UIs and stuff, which can do even more than the regular game. The editor's menu screen will display a clear disclaimer stating that this was not created by Studio Wildcard and may be unstable. Because this is content that doesn't involve money, we are presenting the risks beforehand. However, extremely low quality content will be naturally weeded out by the community's rating system and download numbers. In the unlikely event that there is a malicious map that causes a fatal crash, we reserve the right to temporarily make it private at our own discretion. Basically, it will be left to the modder's self-management, but since it only uses limited text-based API, it is designed so that it's nearly impossible to misuse it by directly accessing memory and planting viruses in the console. Well, that's good, isn't it? Because that would be a bit terrifying. Can the created content be shared across different platforms? So, Jeremy says it's 100% fully cross-platform compatible. It is just lightweight configuration data that doesn't include any assets, so the file size before extraction is only about 300 to 400 kilobytes. The moment you join a multiplayer server, the download is complete before the progress bar even appears. It's on a completely different level of convenience compared to traditional large mod maps. The maps you play are cached locally and can be permanently saved from your history any time to time. So, yeah, I mean, this is gonna be awesome. This is gonna be seriously, it looks like there's even gonna be, like, there's even more exciting information we can dive into, like, in terms of, like, what, you know, they're aiming for the massive platforms like Roblox and Fortnite and all of that. But I think in terms of what we were talking about today in you know, the Island remaster and everything like that, I think this is super exciting because people could, like, take the Island remaster that Wildcard do and the other maps too and make and remake them themselves within Ark Maker. And I think this is so exciting, and I really can't wait to see what happens with the future. Everything sounds good, as we said, but let's wait till we see it and hope it's going to look as good as what we've heard of. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.